Well, my name is Kashif Boothe and I'm a writer, producer and occasional director. Well, how did I get into production and filmmaking? I'd say I studied it in college. So I did a BTEC media course in film and television, which covered not just film and TV, but journalism and also music production as well. So that was like my first step into learning about production. Got my A-levels and then went to university, or Hampton University, did a film degree, graduated in 2013, time ago now. And then after that, I just kind of literally, while I was working part-time at Sainsbury's, grinding, I was doing loads of unpaid work experience at production companies. And then through that, I was able to start networking with like production managers, and from there I was able to start getting runner work, like odd jobs here and there, daily work. And then through an organization called Creative Access, I was able to get an internship at a production company called Raw TV, and from there I just kind of started working in the industry. From there, it's been like 5 years now, and then from there I just kind of, I would say about 3 years ago, that's when I started to really take my independent career seriously and start developing my own brand. I wouldn't say it was easy at all. I literally had my Canon camera with me and I was developing ideas in my bedroom, coming up with concepts and ideas. I was literally fresh out of a job, and that job kind of sucked the life out of me, literally, because it just kind of made me question why I wanted to work in industry. So I had my little Canon camera and I just was literally creating all different types of content. It was like documentaries and just kind of exploring my creativity. And so I was kind of figuring out what I wanted to do. And then I was able to kind of just from there kind of start to develop, okay, what I actually wanted to do. And it was a hard journey because I had no money, no connections independently. So I was like, okay, I have two choices here. I could either try and get funding and stuff like that, but the highest I'd ever been at that point was a development assistant. So there's no way I'm going to get funding. So I kind of just had my camera, got loads of other people who wanted to get into the industry, or other people who I knew from the industry but wanted to direct and write and produce and production manage, let us come together. And that's how I kind of started making my shows, etc. I'm a big fan of TV, so I watch TV all the time. But so I would always wanted to create a show, and with my web series Nate and Jamie, that all happened by accident. Josh, who plays Jamie in it, I've known him for quite a few years, and one day he told me a story about how he was in Shoreditch with his best friend. He saw a girl across the street, and so he said that she was giving him the eye. If you know Josh, you know he's a very gassed youth. So he was like, oh, she's giving him the eye or whatever. And then she crossed the road and went to a restaurant. So him and his friend decided to follow her in there so he could, talk his little sweet nothings in her ear. And then didn't go to plan, then it just didn't work out. So I found that hilarious. And so I have crazy good memory. So about a year later, I wrote a script. So me developed, in the early stages of developing my brand, I wanted to just do a sketch. So I did the sketch, and then I got Samuel, who plays Nate. He's just this hilarious, funny guy. And I knew them two would be great together. So we just did a little sketch, and I was just like, okay, that was it. And then the reaction from that was crazy. Everyone wanted to see part 2. So I was like, okay, I might as well make this into a series. And there we have Nate and Jamie. How long did it take me to produce it from beginning to end? It took me, how can I put this? It took probably about 6 months. The reason why is because everything I've done up until this point has been self-funded. So when I started shooting that, we did the pilot, which is the comedy sketch in spring 2016. And then we didn't start shooting until October 2016, the series. But then I decided to quit my job at a production company, and so I was broke. So it just kind of put a hiatus on stuff. And then so I kind of went freelance and was doing lots of work, and then I was working part-time on the weekends just so I could fund the series. So it was just literally okay, if I've got this amount of lump sum of money, okay, cool, we're gonna put all of that into it and then shoot it. And so yeah, so we shot from October 2016 to June 2017. So it was like the whole period of that time. So yeah, the challenges I faced were, one, being broke literally every month. I remember it was so bad. When you get on the bus and you're using your contactless card, it was like, oh, you've got no money. I was so ashamed. I was like, okay, that was the hardest part. That I had no money and I needed to travel. I think the hardest part of it is really just trying to get a crew together in your cast, and no one's getting paid, and you're just kind of like, okay, you're wearing multiple hats, and it's very hard to do that. You're the writer, the producer, the production manager, the director, so you're kind of wearing so much, and the editor as well. So do you know what I mean? So it was like doing all of that is so hard on just one person, and I think that's the biggest challenge you face, especially when you're self-funding it. So you're broke at the same time, but you're still trying to pursue what you're doing. But then it kind of overcomes everything. Happens full circle. So when you see the end result and everyone's happy with it, and the reaction to what you've kind of created is what you wanted, then it's all worth it. I just wrapped up a short film I produced for Visual Abundance Production. It's a short film called The Agency. It's a thriller film. Right now I'm in development of a new web series. It's the second spin-off to my show Nate and Jamie. It takes place, if you've watched my show Nate and Jamie, it takes place after the wedding episode in season 2. And that's all I'm gonna say. And then I have another web series called Imperfect, and I'm working on the next installment of that. So yeah. Does it work putting my content online? I would say yes, it does, because for me, it's as an independent filmmaker, it's easier for me to be able to get my content out there. So when you're able to get recognized by your peers or industry professionals, that's a bonus. Because I think before the internet, you couldn't really do that. You'd be having to literally just send it into festivals, and that was it. With online content, you can start off small, and people are okay with like poor production value, and then they expect you to improve. So you can start off small and then build up. So that's what's the good thing about online content, because they know you don't have the budget and stuff like that. So I think it does benefit your career. It's helped me to kind of gain loads of more connections as well. And then it's a way of showing a balance between my quote unquote mainstream career, like my day-to-day job, and then my independent career. So it's like a good balance. But I'm obviously hoping my independent stuff overtakes my day-to-day job. So yeah, what do I want for the future for my career? I eventually just want to get picked up, like my shows to get picked up by either a studio or distribution deal, at least something I'm working on, or what I created, to actually go to another level. There's so many different options. So as long as I'm in a position where I'm creating my own content and I'm able to make money from it, and whatever capacity it is, that's what I'm kind of going for.